Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that the title of tonight's show is "The Time for Talk is Over." And the reason why the time for talk is over is because we really do have to sort of try to make up our minds about things. And it's really all based on the fact that there is a very important planet that just changed signs and become a lot stronger. And that is because last Saturday, Mars left Libra. It had been at that fateful 29th degree of Libra, and it is now in Scorpio, and it is joining the Moon and Jupiter in Scorpio. And those three planets are very strong, not only because Mars rules Scorpio, and Scorpio, of course, is a fixed financial sign ruling credit, debt, taxes, loans, inheritance, insurance, grants, or money coming in from any other source. But it is because Mars is so strong. It's the ruler of the sign, and there are two rulers of Scorpio. The other one is Pluto, and Pluto is in Capricorn, sextiling the three planets in Scorpio. So together, it really emphasizes the things that Scorpio rules. And it's not just a fixed financial sign, it also rules, since it's a water sign, it does rule healing. But the kind of healing that Scorpio does can be related to the whole medical field, which it does rule. And in fact, it particularly rules surgery because Mars rules sharp instruments. And so this can be a time, since that sign is so strong because Mars just changed, when the time for talk is over, and there might be a little need to cut out the bad stuff in order to get something good underway. And that could be what we all have to do if we want to heal. Generally, you do have to cut out the bad stuff and then let yourself heal afterwards. And we could be in a period of time now, not exactly of healing, but of trying to get things right. In other words, emphasizing justice and survival. Scorpio also rules the whole military, and it rules the police, or people who administer justice. And those three planets in Scorpio are trining Neptune, which is direct in Pisces, and Neptune is the ruler of that sign. So of the four planets in the water signs, they're all very strong, and two of them are the rulers of the signs. So that can indicate, since Scorpio does rule secrecy, that the time for talking is over, and that perhaps some real justice has to be done, maybe even for all of us just to survive right now. Another reason why the time for talking is over is because it's a little bit unusual that there are absolutely no planets in any of the air signs. So there's nothing in Libra anymore, and there's nothing in Aquarius, and there is nothing in Gemini either. And so since these air signs are generally very conversational and conceptual, and they do like to talk things over, but there aren't any planets in those signs, it simply means that this isn't when talking is going to fix something. This is when there actually has to be some justice done. And it is going to be done in an unimpeded way, because the three planets in Scorpio, which is a fixed sign, are not being squared or opposed by any other planets. In other words, they've got a straight shot to sort of succeed at whatever they want right now. And that's because there are no planets in Aquarius, Taurus, or Leo. And so they really can get going in matters of justice and survival, or in matters that involve any kind of financing or taxes or anything else. It looks like there's going to be a straight successful shot at supporting all of the things that Scorpio rules right now. And that could involve you being able to make a dream come true, because Pisces does rule dreams. And Neptune is there, and it's direct and being fortified by all the planets in Scorpio. So this is a time when we really have to quietly think of how to get something done correctly. Because at the same time that there are the 4 planets in very good aspect and very strong in the water signs, there are still 5 planets in the dynamic fire signs. And that is because Venus, the Sun, Mercury, and Saturn are all in Sagittarius. Saturn is at the fateful 29th degree. It will finally leave Sagittarius next week because it leaves on December 20th, and it will go into the sign it rules, Capricorn, where it is really strong. But for right now, something fateful can be decided at a very high level, and it could concern any of the things that Sagittarius rules, such as foreign countries or the courts and the judicial system, or large international organizations, or colleges and universities, or something that has to do with a moral or religious or philosophical matter, because that's what Sagittarius rules as well. And those 4 planets are being beautifully trined by Uranus, which is retrograde in Aries. And because 2 of the 5 planets are retrograde, it is an indication that perhaps a new beginning is going to have to be reviewed, and it could be revised according to high legal precedent or some sort of examination by the courts or by legal scholars. So even though those fire signs like to move fast, and there can certainly be a sense of urgency about solving some sort of problem or situation right now, still, we really have to concentrate on the fact that the time for vehement rhetoric is over, and justice and survival can be very important to all of us right now. And it can be financial survival as well. In other words, since Scorpio rules credit and debt and loans, since Jupiter is in Scorpio, there could be a lot of that around. And we're all going to have to sort of figure out after the holidays are over how to pay the bills and keep going. And one good way is to try to do our best at everything. In other words, be at your best on your job, or certainly try to maybe get some additional training or education so that you could get a better job. That would be a good idea, and that would certainly help your financial situation. So all of us can have a reason to be supportive of improving our financial situations or of backing things that involve justice and survival. Because it is when you're trying to do something that is according to the law and is of a high moral or spiritual character, in other words, when you're really trying to do your best, that is when you can really succeed. But the time for vehement rhetoric, the time for argument, the time for criticism is over. Because Scorpio doesn't rule talking about something. Scorpio is a fixed sign. And remember, there are no other planets in fixed signs. Scorpio rules righting a wrong, or making sure that justice is administered because it has to be according to the law. And that's where we are right now. The time for talking is over. And it isn't even time for us to be debating anything. It's time for us to make sure we do something right. Okay, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, whoo, the pressure can be off you, Aries. And the reason why is that Mars finally has left Libra. It is no longer opposing your sun sign where you have Uranus. And instead, Aries, you can be very popular because the 4 planets in Sagittarius, which are the Sun, Venus, the planet of love, Mercury, which is retrograde, and Saturn at that fateful 29th degree, are all trining your sun sign where you have Uranus. So there is the possibility you may want to take a sudden quick trip over a long distance. Sagittarius does rule long distance travel. Or it can be that someone is coming to see you, Aries, someone who has been at a distance for a while, or you could hear from them. And it's also possible that some news that you had been waiting on that could involve higher education, or it could involve some matter that is being reviewed, it could be at a high level, and you could be very interested in the outcome of that review or a need to revise something right now. But it looks to me as if the worst is past for you, Aries, and if there has been a partnership breakup or there has been some severe challenge in a legal dispute, I think that the worst is over with that, and that you are going to be able to move on and resolve something in a way that would make you happier, which is good. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, oh boy, now that Mars is in Scorpio and it is joining the Moon and Jupiter today in Scorpio, and they are all opposing your sun sign, Taurus, I think that the money's going out, and it can be going out because of a matter of justice. Maybe you owe a little bit more on your taxes. Well, then you'd have to pay that up, wouldn't you? Plus some penalties or fines. And also, there is the possibility that there is a matter that you just need to attend to, and it might be that the only way to solve it is to pay out right now instead. And it can also be that somebody who is, and it could be a woman, somebody who is bent on doing things in a fair and just way is going to succeed right now, Taurus. And so I think that you more or less just have to pay up. And if your tastes have gotten a little bit extravagant lately over the holidays, maybe that's why you'll have to pay up instead. But I think you're really going to have to pay somebody right now, Taurus. And if it involves a matter of justice and survival, I suggest you do it. I don't think there's any way you can get out of it, so I hope that you sort of pay up it with a good grace and then sort of move on if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, this is one of the rare times when there are no planets in the air signs at all. Nobody needs to do any talking, and besides, the time for talk is over, Gemini, and because the 4 planets in Sagittarius are very much opposing your sun sign, or more or less overwhelming it right now, I would say that you really have to leave things to the legal scholars or to the courts or to people who have a lot of moral and spiritual integrity and are capable of making wise decisions right now. And so this isn't the time for chit-chat, Gemini. In fact, the quieter you are, the better it is for everyone, because you can leave people free to do what they think is right, or to do what is just, or to do what is morally proper, and particularly according to legal precedent that has been established for a very long time. So I don't think that this is a time when the light's going to be shining on you, Gemini, but that might be just as well, because you probably have a lot of things to do for the holidays, and you should be really concentrating a little bit more on small details or things to do in your neighborhood or with your friends. That would really make you happy. And sure, it wouldn't amount to a whole lot of things, but it would still seem to draw the ties that are close to you even closer. And that could be very satisfying for you right now, Gemini. So you don't have to do anything big, but the more attention you pay to small things right now, the more successful and happier you'll be. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, a Cancer, there are a lot of planets in the healing water signs right now, and they all trine your sun sign, Cancer. So today, Mars, the Moon, and Jupiter in Scorpio are trining your sun, and Neptune in Pisces is trining your sun. Both Mars and Neptune are the rulers of their respective signs, and that simply means that there can be some justice done right now, and it may be done in your favor, Cancer. There could be some financial settlement coming your way, or there could be a little more money to spend on making a dream come true. And you certainly richly deserve that, Cancer, because you have been undergoing a period of extreme pressure and challenges the whole time that Mars was in Libra squaring your sun, and Uranus in Aries is still squaring your sun. But the 4 strong planets, all of which are direct in water signs, are really supporting you right now. And so you're going to make some sort of a breakthrough right now, Cancer, and it's going to make you very happy. And it's one that is richly deserved, so congratulations. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, there are 4 planets in Sagittarius all trining your sun, and Uranus in Aries is also trining your sun. But you know, among those 5 planets, 2 of them are retrograde. And so that simply means that you might get some delayed news that is a little different than what you thought it would be, Leo. And you'll just have to live with that because the time for talking is over. And the emphasis is so powerful among the 3 planets in Scorpio that you more or less are going to have to abide by some matter that involves justice and survival. There isn't going to be anything you can do about it, Leo. And the reason why is that those 3 planets in Scorpio are harshly squaring your sun, and they are powerful and they are backed up. So while you can be very popular, I think you are going to need to sort of cushion yourself against some news that is going to turn out a little differently than you thought it would. And it'll have to be revised, or something will have to be readdressed or redone again. And so that's okay. I mean, I think you've got the energy for that, Leo. But it could be a little bit disappointing that you're not seeing a straight shot at something right now. What you're going to have to do is back up and redo something and then maybe go for it. So I think a new beginning is going to have to get redone in one way or another. But that can still work well for you. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time when things can be turning around a little bit for you. And I do mean just a little bit because there are still 4 planets in Sagittarius, the Sun, Venus, Mercury, your own ruler, and Saturn, which are harshly squaring your sun sign. And Mercury is still retrograde, so you're going to have to go back and readdress some serious challenge that you wish you didn't have to do anything about at all, but you will. You'll have to respond to some sort of harsh challenge right now, Virgo. And it can mean that something, well, some news or some information is going to have to get clarified in one way or another. This could work to your advantage. I mean, after all, Mercury's going into Capricorn after it leaves Sagittarius, and then it will trine your sun. So that it may be that things, once they are reworked or reworded, or there are better explanations around that are presented, excuse me, then something will work out better for you. And that is because Saturn, after December 20th, which is next week, will go into Capricorn and trine your sun. And it will join Pluto, which is already trining your sun in Capricorn. And that means somebody in a pretty powerful position is really going to back you up right now and may even promote you, Virgo. But that will be after you really have to address some situation and clarify it in some way. But that's okay. If it means better days ahead, I hope you go ahead and do that. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, thank heavens, Mars is no longer in your sign. And so things can be calming down in your life a little bit, Libra. You may have been way too busy lately and really sort of running around and not having any time to relax and just enjoy yourself during these holidays. But now maybe you can, Libra, because there aren't any planets in the air signs. This is not the time to be talking about anything. In fact, this is a time for justice and survival. And the reason why that can be good news to you, Libra, is because Mars, the Moon, and Jupiter are all in Scorpio, right ahead of your sun sign. And they do emphasize justice and survival, and they can also emphasize more money. So you may be getting a better job that pays more, or you may be working really hard right now, but there will be a big payoff for it, or justice will be done. And so that can be promising for you in the future, Libra. So I think now is the time for you to put your feet up and just relax, because you're sort of over the hump, or you're over something that has been quite contentious. And one way or the other, if it hasn't been resolved already, it will be. And then you really will be able to breathe a sigh of relief. So congratulations, Libra, better days are ahead. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, you can be supercharged. And the reason why is that Mars, your own ruler, is in your sun sign along with the moon today and Jupiter. And they're all being trine beautifully by Neptune in Pisces. And actually, there are no planets in the other fixed signs right now, Scorpio. So you have a very clear shot at something. It could involve justice and survival. And it could involve something financial. It could be involving something where you have to right a wrong. In other words, something rather unfair in a financial situation or in some sort of relationship or even a medical condition could be getting a lot better because you're really energized to make it work or make it better. And believe me, you have nothing stopping you, Scorpio. So whatever you want to do that is just and that meets a moral or a spiritual high ground or adheres to legal precedent is really going to work out. And so this is not the time for talking. This is the time to go ahead, Scorpio, and very quietly and silently, and maybe even secretly, since your sign does rule secrecy, go ahead and do what you think is the right thing to do, because it will be done and it will be done successfully. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, this is a time when you are so close to being over something that I think in another week you will be over it. And the reason why is that Saturn is at 29 degrees in your sign now, and it is moving out of your sign where it has been for years now, and it will move into Capricorn next week on December 20th. And oh boy, the burden will be lifted, or some worry or even depression that you have been suffering is going to be over. And the reason why it might be over is because there is the possibility that a new generation is coming along, or that people, even parents, can agree on some plan that has been in the works for a long time to transfer responsibility of duties to somebody who is agreeing to do them with love, loyalty, and sacrifice. And you know, nothing good comes for free. There always has to be a sacrifice. And so this is a time when instead of you having to make the sacrifice, Sagittarius, it can be that someone else can come along that is willing to take up that burden and to carry on. And so you're reaching a period of culmination, and it's going to be over, and better times are really ahead for you. I don't mean fast times, I mean good solid times. As we enter a new year, you're going to be a lot better off. So congratulations for making it through a tough time. All right, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time when you too can be breathing a sigh of relief. And the reason why is that Mars in Libra is no longer squaring your sun, and that could have presented very contentious partnership or legal issues to you. And you know, I don't think that you were always winning, Capricorn. Instead, if you have been sort of quietly contemplating a change that may occur at the start of the new year, it can be something that can be making your life more stable and more secure at the same time, because Saturn, your own ruler, is just about to change signs. It'll do that next week and enter your sign, and that'll be wonderful. So no, you don't have to worry so much about contentious partnership or legal issues. And also, the only planet that is harshly aspecting your sun sign is Uranus in Aries, and I'm happy to say it will leave Aries on May 15th next year and won't be bothering you. In fact, it'll be trining your sun sign next year. So Capricorn, I think that you too can, just like Libra, you can breathe a little sigh of relief right now, and that can make your holidays more enjoyable. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a time when I think that you can be maybe surprised by the fact that, one, there are no planets in the air sign, so nobody's talking right now, or there's no more time for vehement rhetoric or harsh complaints or criticisms. That time has passed. And now is the time for us to be looking forward into the future, and that's what your sign rules, Aquarius. And yet at the same time, your future is going to depend on your bank account. And it can be a little threatened right now because Mars, the Moon, and Jupiter in Scorpio are all squaring your sun sign. This is not the time for you to overspend or get deeply in debt, Aquarius, because you might sink. You might get too deeply in debt. So this is a time to sort of keep your hands in your pocket, and you can think about the future all you want. But remember, this is also a time for justice and survival, and it will be done. And it will be done very successfully. And so this is a time when you might want to stand aside, Aquarius, and you can contemplate your future. But if it has anything to do with money, I would not do anything about that right now. You can't afford to take a financial risk. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, there are a lot of planets in the water signs right now, and that certainly benefits you. And that is because today Mars, the Moon, and Jupiter in Scorpio are all trining your sun. So if justice is done, and particularly if it has anything to do with money, you are going to benefit, Pisces, which is good because the time for talking is over. You can't get out of anything, and you more or less have to live up to your word. Everyone has to do that now because it's the right thing to do. And so with the planets in Sagittarius, 4 of them, the Sun, Venus, Mercury, and Saturn, all squaring your sun, and Saturn being at that fateful 29th degree, there is a matter that involves your superiors or people who have been trying to guide you, or maybe they're your bosses, whatever. They are going to be deciding something, and it will either be in your favor or it will not be in your favor, Pisces, but you will have to live with it because justice and survival have to be done. Still, at the same time, I think there's some more money coming your way, and I think maybe you can really use it. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show anytime you want by subscribing to it on our website, and you can hear our podcast there as well. Thank you. Bye.